joining us as we celebrate the mission to remember the fallen, honor those that serve and their families, and teach the next generation the values of freedom. My name is Taryn Holmes. I am a junior at Holliston High School, and I am also a member of the National Honor Society at my school, and I am also the National Kids Helping Kids Assistant Co-Chairman for the National Society Children of the American Revolution. We ask that to start the event, you please join me in a moment of silence to remember the fallen, prisoners of war, those missing in action, and honor those who have served and are serving this great nation's armed forces. Thank you. Please stand while we post the colors. The Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States will be led by Fiona Germain.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order.
Thank you all for joining us here today. This year, across the country, more than 3,400 participating locations like this one, there are millions of Americans gathering safely as one nation to remember, honor, and teach. We are all proud to be Americans and live in a free society made up of many people from many walks of life. The freedoms we enjoy today have not come without a price. Lying here before us and in cemeteries throughout the nation are men and women who gave their lives so that we can live in freedom and without fear. We can worship as we see fit. We can raise our children to believe as we do. We are free to vote for the leaders of our choosing, and we have the right to succeed and have the right to fail at whatever endeavor we wish to pursue. The United States of America was founded on the ideas of freedom, justice, and equality. Our nation stands as a shining beacon of liberty and freedom to the world. We thank those who gave their lives to keep us free, and we shall not forget you. We shall remember. Today, more than ever, we reflect on our nation's veterans and active duty service members who have had and continue to fight to protect the innocent and oppressed. This nation has always been the first to stand up for the freedom of people from all around the world. Many of you here today have answered that call and served your country well. For this, we say thank you, and we are honored to know you. There are many men and women serving today in all branches of the military, here at home and in places far away, that most of us have never heard of. These men and women are part of the best trained, best equipped force in the world. We honor them and their families for the sacrifices they make every day and keep our country safe from terrorism, hatred, and injustice. This year, we've added an additional ceremonial wreath to honor the men and women currently serving in the U.S. Space Force, along with those veterans who have served roles in helping to secure the national interest in space. Quoting our 40th United States President Ronald Reagan, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. Or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States where men were free." Today, we show a united front of gratitude and respect across the United States of America as we remember the fallen, honor those who served and their families, and teach the next generation the values of freedom. Walter McGrath will lay the Veterans Wreath in memory of those who served and are serving in the United States Army. Don Gelly will lay the Veterans Wreath in memory of those who served and are serving in the United States Marine Corps. Steve Bradford will lay a Veterans Wreath in memory of those who served and are serving in the United States Navy. Hanna Germain will lay a Veterans Wreath in memory of those who served and are serving in the United States Air Force. Bill Callahan will lay a Veterans Wreath in honor of those who are serving in the United States Space Force. Germain will lay a Veterans Wreath in memory of those who served and are serving in the United States Coast Guard. Holmes will lay a Veterans Wreath in memory of those who served and are serving in the United States Merchant Marines. Martin Spalacy will lay a Veterans Wreath in honor of the 93,129 United States servicemen from all branches of the service whose last known status was either prisoners of war or missing in action. These individuals have never returned to their families and homes. We shall not forget you. We encourage every volunteer here today to place a wreath on a veteran's grave, to say that veteran's name aloud, and take a moment to thank them for their service to our country. It is a small act that goes a long way towards keeping the memory of our veterans alive. Remember, we are not here today to decorate graves. We are here to remember not their deaths, but their lives. Each wreath is a gift of appreciation from a grateful America. These lives blossom for wreaths stabilize our honor to those who have served and are serving in the armed forces of our great nation and their families who endure sacrifices every day on our behalf. To our children, we want you to understand that the freedoms you enjoy today have not been free, but come with a cost that someday you may have to pay yourself. As a nation standing together, we can defeat terrorism, hatred, and injustice. Thanks to our veterans, we have freedom to do just that. At this time, I would like to invite some of our local leaders and supporting groups to say a few words. Steve Bradford, past commander of the American Legion, Post 47.
Thank you, Taryn. Good morning. On behalf of the members of the American Legion Post 47 in Holliston, I'd like to thank Taryn for putting this together. I've read about this opportunity for years and always wondered how it would work out to get it here in Holliston, and this young lady stepped forward and did that. So it's not a place to give a round of applause, but in your mind, thank her. And thank all you veterans and everyone else that came out to help with this project. Thank you.
David Degan, Commander, VFW, Post 8507.
Good afternoon. We are here amongst the dead. People who once stood in fields like this one in the wintertime listening to people speak. People who were born, had hopes, lived their lives out, gave birth to children, raised them, taught them as best they could, had joys and suffered through life like everybody else does. Some of them, when asked to, not terribly unlike their neighbors, went off and took on a little extra suffering, a little extra privation. Some of those experienced terror and noise, furor. And then they came home, and like everybody else, they passed on, and they're gone. Those that went did so because of their neighbors, for their neighbors. Those that went, I doubt very many of them would have exchanged places with their neighbors or wanted their neighbors to experience what they had gone through. In a lot of ways, the things that we're doing today there isn't very much that we can do to render more meaningful this space than what they did during their lives. Our efforts are kind of small and pitiful in comparison. And in fact, these things, the balance sheet ends up being in, we still end up in debt, because by the end of the day, what we've done today, really who benefits from it is us. We've taken a moment from our busy days, all of the noise and tumult that we get from living in the modern world, and we take a few minutes to come out here and just live like human beings, walking and breathing and thinking about people who came before us. And so again, we're still in their debt. I appreciate everybody coming out today and for the mindful, the prayerful, and the conscious thinking that you're going to be doing today of veterans who've gone before you, of all people who've gone before you, frankly. And I appreciate the opportunity that you've afforded us in doing that. Thank you.
And from our supporting groups, would Hanna Germain, Society President of the Jason Russell Society of the Children of the American Revolution, to make remarks.
I'm Hanna Germain, President of the Jason Russell Society of the Children of the American Revolution. We are here today to honor the veterans who sacrificed their lives for our country. Today we will place these wreaths on the veterans' graves and read their names so they won't be forgotten. As Pierre Clayson wrote, "To be killed in war is not the worst that can happen. To be lost is not the worst that can happen. To be forgotten is the worst." Thank you for coming out here today.
Jim Holmes, Chapter President of the Old Middlesex Chapter, Sons of the American Revolution.
Good morning, and I'm going to pull double duty as both Sons of the American Revolution and also the sponsor from Mount Hollis Masonic Lodge here in Holliston. As part of Sons of the American Revolution, we all have proven family lineage back to those who fought in the Revolutionary War, and part of our goal is to educate and honor, and we thank you for that. And as part of the Masonic Lodge, we look to do a lot of the same values, ideals, and again, we thank you. So, do it when that's done. Well, these are
This is the last one. Yeah. Okay. Now we will have a volley from our Old Middlesex Chapter color guard.
about Ready? Freeze in. Fire. Prepare to prime and load. Prime and load. Shoulder your firelock. Make ready. Freeze in. Fire. Prepare to prime and load. Prime and load. Shoulder your firelock. Make ready. Freeze in. Fire. Secure your firelock. About face. Shut. Pan.
This concludes our ceremony. Many thanks to Carol Kosicki, Holliston Cemetery Board Member, VFW Command Color Guard, and the MASSAR Colonel Henry Knox Regimental Color Guard, Mr. Jack Anderson, our wreath sponsors, and our volunteers here today. Please take only 1 or 2 wreaths so that everybody may have a chance to lay a wreath. If for any reason you need to skip a grave, please take a moment to stop at the grave and pay your respects and honor that veteran, thanking them for their service. And also, please be careful. The ground may be slippery after the rain, and there may be very many wet leaves. Thank you for joining us today. So we are currently at a Wreaths Across America event, which is where over 3,400 cemeteries across the country are going out to lay wreaths on veteran graves to remember them and honor their sacrifices and teach the people of the community about everything that they've done. It's probably, in my opinion, one of the best ways that people can go out and support their local veterans and just support their community. I put out kind of a fundraiser where people could go out and sponsor wreaths. I did it through the Wreaths Across America website, I created a tab for this event, and people could go under and sponsor as many wreaths as they wanted that would be here at the event for them to place. I also invited the VFW because I thought it's only right to invite them because they have maybe fought with some of these people in these cemeteries and kind of been in their shoes with going off to fight in wars, so I thought it would be right to have them here.
Going to my brother's. Alfred Campusol. Rest in peace, bro.
I just want to thank everybody for coming and participating, and also we will most likely be doing this again next year, so if people want to come out next year to the event, it will be at a similar time next year.